Okay, look, we're over now at the back of the engine and we're looking at the rear crank seal, which is in here, and the flywheel bolts on here. Now, the rear crank seal is this little fella here, and it pushes into the housing here. There's a sealant on the outside, which it has a green sealant on the new seal, and it also has a sealer where it runs on the crank. So there's no need to put any sealant on this seal. Keep an eye out, make sure they're a good brand. This is from Bear Co. CR makes a good brand. Genuine John Deere is a good seal. I had one the other day from another company and it was junk. I took it back, I wouldn't use it. So now this main housing, it's held on by a couple of bolts here. What is it? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that bolts this adapter plate or an ISO housing, if it's on a pump or something like that, to the back. And with a loader, it's worth just nipping those up, just checking them. If they come loose, you'll see an oil leak at the back of the engine block, and you have to split the tractor, and once you split the tractor, you have to pull all this out, replace the rear seal again and do all that. So just make sure they're all tight, just nip them up, and like them, I didn't even take them up a flat. It was just well worth doing. Now, this back housing here, to give that a bit of a clean up. Mainly to stop any rubbish getting in the back of the engine. Use your favourite solvent. Keep it out of the starter, you don't need it up in there. This one can't have been leaking, it's not oily in here, bit of clutch dust, but that's all. Good stiff parts brush is good on these. Good stiff parts brush is good on anything. This tractor's been sitting for a while, so I'm just going to put a little squirt of oil on that shaft there later, just to help the starter engage and disengage, so it doesn't want to stay in. Okay, that should have it pretty good. Now have a bit of a wipe with a rag just to tidy it up a little bit, dry it up a little bit. I could blow it off with air, but anyway, I've got a bit of rag here, ready to go. Look at that, just spreading it all out on my stand here. Going from bad to worse, I might give that up. Okay. Now, this has the old type seal in it. Now, the old type seal was just a plain ring with this seal here. You'll see this later seal, it has like a slinger on it. So they did change, they're interchangeable, the seals. So look, all I do now is get a screwdriver in here and pull the outside out. It's easier to do this on the old seal than the newer one. And you can see in the back of the engine there now. Now this is a bit of a trick. If you bring your screwdriver, oh, sorry bumping you like that, down the side, I wonder if I can do it over this side, down the side, and what I like to do is just score that inner seal surface. This one's actually moving. But often they'll just split right open. And you can score them and they break open and just come off. Good way to break a screwdriver. And we'll just come in under. Make sure you don't mark the crank at all. And there's the seal surface off. And you can see where I scored it all up. And sometimes by running your screwdriver across like that, you don't go in deep enough to damage the crank here at all. But I have had them so they'll just pop and split on you. That works for both sorts. The one with the shoulder here, sometimes it's a bit more difficult to get out. But look, that's okay. Now, what I like to do now is get a little soft brush. And it's hard to do any of this without introducing a little bit of something into your engine, but I usually try hard not to. But I do like to get my finger in here and just clean this housing up with a little emery tape. Then wipe it clean. A little bit more. And wipe it clean. And we're just wanting to remove any paint, like the seal actually leaves a little bit of a slight bit of that green sealing stuff here. So the main idea is just to grab some of that. My fat finger just fits in there. So, and then I come in above and I just wipe all that out and the rag picks it up rather than washing it in. You can see on the rag there, it's picked it up. And we're just looking for nice clean housings. And same on the crank, exact same thing. We're looking to make sure any sealant is not left there anymore. There's no little marks, no dimples, no nothing. Because the sealant on the new seal is so small, it's only just a painted surface. It won't take much to muck it up and make it not seal, so spend a little bit of time here. A little bit that's gone now. A little bit of a mark just around there. You can hear the shed creaking once more. It always creaks in my videos. I do them through the day, and I suppose if I did them at night time, well, you wouldn't hear that. The moon's not strong enough to make the shed expand. I see Sasquatch videos where he's doing his caterpillar and all that. He was out there yesterday cleaning up a block with snow outside. Oh, imagine that. Okay, so look, that's nice and clean. I can't feel any burrs, any discrepancies at all. There's a little mark there where someone's got the seal out before and just marked it slightly. They must have dug in a bit. Didn't worry it anyway, it wasn't leaking. Okay, there we go. Now this next bit you might have trouble with. Now the reason being is I've made the tools up to do it over the years. John Deere does bring out a tool for putting the rear crankshaft seal in, and it was over $400 when I bought one when I had my business, and we needed some for on the field, so in field service, so we actually made a couple up, and we had a fiddle. We got it right. We took a few times to get it right, but now it's real good. So what it consists of is, I'm just making sure there's no rubbish on here at all. What it consists of is a plate that bolts to the crankshaft here. So it bolts on with Allen head screws. I can't do CAD well enough to be able to draw you a pattern for doing this. If someone buys a clutch kit off us or an engine kit, we do lend this tool out, but we get a couple of $100 deposit in case it doesn't come back. But so far it's always come back. And when I sold the workshop, like we used to have a few of these, and we used to have one in each service truck that just stayed there, so you didn't have a chance of anyone ever getting out to a job with not having the correct tool. So what we do with this bit here is this just fits over the end of there, and we try and make sure that this lines up as best we can make it with the crankshaft. So when we bring the seal in over the top here, there's a little bit of movement there, but when we bring it over the top, it's okay. Yeah. That feels good. We'll nip that up. Then we sit the seal on. Now one thing I should point out is, can you see that? Yep. You'll see a little raised lip here. That actually pushes on the seal, and it pushes on the seal right next to the crank, not outside there. The early seal tools, they had this piece went right out, but this later tool we relieved it, so it pushed there. So this seal tool pushes the seal in, and then we made it so, because we had apprentices and whoever working on stuff, we had a heap of fellas working over the years, once this went right in and you couldn't bolt it up anymore, that was the correct amount for the seal to go in. Is that nice and level? I'll just give that a bit of a... Look, it's a pretty snug fit. You can see where people over the years have given it a hiding, give it a bash it and all that. So, but look, we put the seal in dry. We bring this tool over the top. Now, I have a needle bearing on it. Now, this is out of steering column. It's out of a steering column on a John Deere, the big cast column on a 1640 2040. It's a big black power steering column. So then we bring the thrust bearing down over there, and then we bring the nut down. I've lent this out a lot and it's come back a bit bashed up, but look, it's still a good tool, it still works well. So what we do now, just take your trusty shifting spanner. You just slowly take that seal in. And on my tool, I suppose the John Deere one's the same, you take it in as far as it can go. When you can't do that up anymore, the back of this plate is hit on the head of the Allen head bolts, and that's it. Could you do this without the tool? Well, look, yes you could, but boy, you'd want to be careful. You'd want a couple of nice sized bits of pipe and all that sort of thing. So and that's it, that's tight. So now we just undo him. And there's your seal in. Now if you're fitting one without the tool, the flange on here must be 5mm from the end of the crank, because the crankshaft actually aligns on that and comes down over the flywheel actually comes down over the crankshaft. So we'll take this out. I was lucky it didn't fall in the bucket. And there you go, one new crank seal fitted. Now that's nice and level, it has to be true. Can't get much better than that. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Just to give you a bit of a close up of it. That's what it should look like when you're done. And that's it. Fitting a rear crank seal on a John Deere Saran engine.